Nothing is more unsettling than the darkness that surrounds a cornfield at night. Its tall stalks swaying in the wind cast shadows that seem to come alive, hiding ancient and terrifying secrets. Today, we will tell the story of Jonas, a young man who swore never to set foot in a cornfield again after an experience that changed his life forever. What started as a simple dare among friends quickly turned into a nightmare from which he would never fully escape. A dare gone wrong. Jonas grew up in a small town surrounded by cornfields. He and his friends used to play there as children, but as they grew older, the field gained a sinister reputation. Stories of unexplained disappearances and strange sounds echoing through the cornfield became common. However, like any fearless teenager, Jonas didn't believe those tales until that night. It was Halloween, and the group decided to challenge each other. The task was simple: cross the cornfield from one side to the other, alone, while the others waited on the opposite edge. Jonas, being the bravest of the group, accepted the challenge without hesitation. He grabbed a flashlight, smiled at his friends, and stepped into the field, confident he'd be back in a few minutes. The silence of the cornfield, as Jonas took his first steps, something felt off. The sound of his friends' laughter and chatter vanished, as if the field had swallowed it. The only sound was the rustling of the corn swaying in the breeze, but even that seemed muted. He switched on his flashlight, but the beam barely penetrated the thick darkness. As he walked, Jonas began to feel as though something was following him. At first, he brushed it off as his imagination. "It's just the wind," he whispered to himself. But then he heard footsteps. They weren't light like his own. They were heavy, as if something large was moving between the stalks. The sinister encounter. Jonas stopped and aimed his flashlight toward the sound. Nothing, just the unmoving stalks of corn. He chuckled nervously, trying to convince himself he was overreacting, and continued walking. But with every step, the feeling of being watched grew stronger. The rustling around him grew louder, closer, until suddenly he heard a low, raspy laugh. He froze. His flashlight began to flicker, and Jonas heard something he would never forget. A voice whispering his name. Jonas. It seemed to come from every direction, echoing throughout the field. He broke into a sprint, forgetting the directions he had memorized. All that mattered was getting out, but the field seemed endless. The escape. As he ran, Jonas tripped and fell. His flashlight flew from his hand, going out upon impact. He was plunged into complete darkness. Then he felt it. Something grabbed his ankle. It was a cold, bony hand pulling him toward the ground. He screamed and kicked with all his strength, but it seemed futile. Just when he was losing hope, a bright light illuminated the field. It was one of his friends who had decided to search for him after he'd taken too long. As soon as the light hit him, the hand released its grip. Jonas bolted to the edge of the cornfield without looking back. After the experience, Jonas was never the same after that night. He told his story to his friends, but no one fully believed him. Some said he had just gotten lost and scared. Others suggested he made it all up to explain his panic. But Jonas knew the truth. The cornfield wasn't just a field. It was an ancient place, filled with dark energy, where something inhuman resided. He swore never to go near it again, but every now and then he still hears it, his name whispered on the wind. This story is a reminder that some dares aren't worth taking, and the next time you pass by a cornfield at night, remember there are things inside that you might not want to meet. Jonas was lucky to escape, but would everyone be as fortunate?